Hey guys, so Simon's going to be introducing this video.
I am! These are questions which you guys have submitted to us about Oxford stuff, right?
Yep.
These are questions which you've left on Jamie's channel, and we're just going to answer them and go through them now. Let's go!
So Shells, I think that's how you say it, 29, she has asked, or he has asked, how do international students mingle at Oxford? Do you personally have international student friends when you're at Oxford? From what I see, international students tend to make friends with other international students as opposed to British people.
Maybe. I didn't notice that.
No.
I think it probably varies a bit by nationality. I think if you go with a group of people from your country, you tend to stay with that group. Whereas there are plenty of people in my college who I knew who were international students, and you didn't treat them any differently.
No. So my best friend group consists of someone from Poland, someone from Estonia, someone from America, someone from the north of England, someone from the south of England, more people from like Russia and Australia. So you make friends with tons of people. There's no like, oh, international students, just stick with international students.
People are cool all over the world.
Yeah, exactly, and it's really cool to be able to go anywhere in the world and have a friend there.
Yeah.
But I did notice, so there was one individual who I saw in first week of Freshers Week, and I said, hey, yeah, we should totally be friends. And then she went to hang out with the society of her nationality, and I never saw her again for like 2 years. So don't be that person.
Yeah, there is a responsibility as an international student to be proactive.
Yeah, mingle with us domestic guys. Do the colleges at Oxford differ in political standing?
Yeah, Dino Duck, thank you. Cool name. Yeah, some colleges have a reputation. Wadham is known for being
very liberal.
Yeah, very liberal.
Which, based on what you've said, we probably recommend.
Yeah, don't go to Christchurch or Balliol or Magdalen.
No, Magdalen's great. But yeah, they do generally have reputations. Wadham is seen as the one that is really liberal in everything and very much willing to support every.
Also, the younger colleges tend to be quite liberal.
Yeah, that's true.
Although I think, was it St Anne's they had some issues a little while ago?
Not sure.
I don't know. But generally younger ones tend to be pretty liberal as well.
If you want to know the reputation, again, I recommend checking out the student room and just asking people who've been to those colleges in the college threads, and people will happily reply.
Tom Castles has asked, will there be anything on the PAT that I haven't studied at AS? No. The PAT is an assessment of the way you think and not so much the material which you know. So they're not going to really have that much assumed material. If you want to revise for it, check out old senior maths challenge papers and old PAT papers.
And then Low Rachel has asked,
great grades, great personal statement and passion for the subject. Would you say that's enough for Oxford?
Well, it would make you a very strong candidate.
You need to be good at interviews.
It wouldn't guarantee that you would get in.
Yeah.
Is all I can really say to that question.
Yeah,
right.
That's about as good as you can ask for in a basic.
Yeah, and you also got to do the aptitude test as well, if your subject requires it.
Katie Allen has asked, how long did it take you both to adjust to the workload at Oxford? Also, did you find it hard to get used to your tutors being critical of your work? Now, I know, Katie, you're going to St Peter's, so you're going to be absolutely fine. And it took me a while to adjust to the workload because I approached it in the wrong way. I had this mantra that if I worked more hours, I'd just be better, and I didn't think about working in the right way. So I think as long as you are willing to be flexible with how you work and change some of your working patterns, it won't take long.
Yeah, I think it took me about a term to adjust to the initial workload, and then I tried to do more stuff, and then I think I ended up mastering juggling workload after 2 years. Yeah. But I was trying to force in a hell of a lot. And
in terms of tutors being critical, you're always going to be worried about disappointing your tutors. Like, partly because I always had this thing, if I was worried about wasting their time. Like, why are you reading my first year problem sheet on vectors? You literally have papers in nature. Why are you bothering? So you always have that slight, almost, fear of disappointing them. But in terms of them being critical, you actually adapt very quickly. Yeah,
they really are there to help you grow intellectually. And
most of them have been through the system. Yeah. So they know what you guys are going to be going through.
Yeah.
Alexi Metal Pyrotex. Awesome.
Hey again.
I've already posted my question on Simon's video. I just wanted to share that tidbit.
That this video excites them. Cool, thank you.
Ibolia Belakova?
Yep.
That's close enough.
What was the hardest question you had to answer during your interview?
Probably would be something in one of my maths interview, I guess. I have 2 videos on my interview questions, so you can check them out there. Oh yeah, I don't know. There wasn't any question which just made me break down and cry or anything.
Fortunately.
I mean, what will happen is they'll ask you a question, and then they'll just extend it and extend it and extend it, and you get to a point where you actually just have to say, I don't know. But yeah, there was nothing which really stands out. Was it for you?
So my economics interview was probably the worst or the hardest. So before I go in, the previous person comes out and goes, "That was effing horrible." And then I have to go in and go do my interview. I sit down straight away, they throw a question at me and they start talking through Pascal's wager. I had no idea what Pascal's wager was. And this guy was very precise and they did exactly what Simon said. They constantly keep pushing you until you eventually reach your limit. That was something I'd never done before, so I'd say that was the hardest thing.
Evie Townsend, is there a north-south divide at Oxford? There is, I think, in some senses. There's a sense of, like, Northerners tend to be very proud of being Northern. Like, I've noticed that. And the majority... I think
Southerners don't care.
Yeah. It's almost like Northerners have, like, this they have like their own little community. Like you meet if two people from the north meet each other, it's almost like that's a bond.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas if two people from the south meet each other, we don't care.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, we're from the south, cool.
But there's no enmity between the two at all.
No, some people would beg to differ. So based on our experiences, we don't think that there is any enmity. It might just be because we just get on with people.
Yeah.
Like, I have loads of northern friends. I don't even see them as northern friends, they're just my friends.
Yeah. Some of them, so one of my best mates is a very, very northern man. And he's, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, Rob. And and he was absolutely, he got really involved in the boat club, which is kind of seen as quite a posh like background. Lots of people from the south have been doing it, and people don't treat him any different.
So Sophia is asking, your opinion, what's more important in obtaining a place at Oxford? Predicted grades, an academic record, or interview?
So I actually have a video on my channel of my college's admissions representative talking about this. Basically, your GCSE grades are what determines whether you're going to be given an interview. That's that and your aptitude test score. And then from the interview, the aptitude test score and the interview, and then your A-level predictors are what go into whether you get an offer or not.
Cool.
So your GCSEs are obviously important in terms of that first hurdle, and the Oxford places much more emphasis on the GCSEs than Cambridge do, whereas Cambridge put more emphasis on UMS scores. I'd say that probably they're going to assume that you have something like AAA predicted or A*A or whatever, maybe AAB, and so in a way I think the interview is going to be more important. To be honest.
So Low Rachel's asked a cool question. She was saying, why did we pick Oxford, why not Cambridge, or why not an American university?
So I picked Oxford because I wanted to do physics and not natural sciences. That's why I did Oxford, not Cambridge. I visited both. I liked Cambridge as a town a lot. I visited, my girlfriend of 3 years went there, so I know Cambridge very well. I didn't even think about applying to the US. It's a little bit, in hindsight, it might have suited me better, but then I think the benefit of the American system is the fact that you do lots of different courses and you have to do the whole spectrum. Whereas in Oxford, you specialise. So I'm more advanced after 4 years of, I believe I'm right in saying, after 4 years of doing Oxford physics than I would be of majoring in physics at a US university, because then you do a graduate programme, then you're at the same level. But I'm the kind of person who researches and finds out about stuff in my spare time anyway.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't even occur to me, to be completely honest.
I thought, okay, so what I want to study is PPE. The best place in the world to study PPE is Oxford. Cambridge doesn't even offer the course. America, I don't even think they know what it is. And I love it, so why not apply to the place that invented the course I want to do? In 1927.
Really?
Yeah. Agatha has asked,
how many contact hours per week did you have? I'm really curious about how Oxbridge differs from other universities. That varies.
You probably have a hell of a lot more than I did.
Yeah, well, it varies colossally by subject. So physics, you'd have around 10 to 12 hours of lectures a week, and then 7 hours of labs on average per week, and about 3 hours of tutorials. So quite a lot.
I mean, like, lectures per week, how much could you have? Maybe 6 to 10 hours of lectures per week, but you don't actually have to go to them, which is, unless you're doing more of the mathematical side of things, then you need to go to the course, to the lectures.
Yeah.
Tutorials you have 2 a week, so that's 2 hours, and then aside from that, it's independent work. Okay, so Lois asked, what do you think made you stand out from the rest?
I was taller.
I don't know.
I like to think that I know in one of my interviews they asked me about the fact that I went to NASA for this work experience thing. That I think helped. I think my extended project helped. Also, the fact that I did a lot of debating, I think, made me more relaxed in interviews. I think I might have been able to convey myself a bit better. But I don't know, actually.
I think, based on some information I have, it's that I thought differently to the other candidates, and the way I approached problems was different. So for instance, for the aptitude test, I was the only one out of the 50 people being interviewed that answered the why do we need banks question, as opposed to what do you think about having burqas in society. I was the only one out of 50 people. And then during the interview stage, when we're talking about philosophy, my take on some of the philosophers was different, and my approach to how you should do philosophy was different to what most people were saying. I just think that that was pretty much it. They saw my potential to think independently. Yeah. Which is a huge skill to have, and one of the things that they do look for.
Isabel Gordon has asked, I'm starting at Oxford next week to study physics. Good choice. But fairly hopeless at budgeting. Did you ever have any issues with budgeting while studying there? Generally, I budgeted about £10 a day. I think that's a pretty good estimate, to be honest.
I mean, so in terms of budgeting, the money thing wasn't so much of an issue because of the Student Support Fund, which is an additional finance you can get from your college you can apply for, depending on your financial circumstances. But in terms of budgeting, I was just like, right, what do I need to live? I need food, and I need to make sure I can pay my bills. And then aside from that, I'd ask myself, if I was buying something additional, do I want this or do I need this? If I need it, I'll probably buy it. If I want it, I'll sleep on it or think about it and then ask myself the same question. Yeah. And then that way you don't have to worry about creating a gigantic spreadsheet or something like that.
Jess, 21, has asked that she's from a regular comprehensive school in London. If she hypothetically achieved the same grades as someone at a top private school, would she be more likely to get an interview? In a word, yes. Oxford accounts for the fact that your grades are relative to the average performance of your school. So if you do better than, much better than the average, even if that average is quite low, that's going to look more impressive. Although there is obviously like a cut-off point, you still have to be very good at your subject. And in terms of whether that would change your offer, it probably wouldn't. It might slightly be might be slightly lower, but don't expect it to change too much.
And then we have a question from Akash Deb, and they've asked, how and where should I put my CBSE predicted grades in the UCAS form?
What's the CBSE?
I guess it's some sort of other qualification you can get instead of GCSEs or A-levels somewhere in the world.
I have no idea.
I think you just put it in that section, and then you explain like, yeah, these are the equivalents of my country. They will recognise that that's a thing. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just
yep. And then Akashdeep has also has also asked, can international students studying at the UK, at Oxford, intern at companies in the UK?
Yes, they can, because you have a student visa while you're in the UK, and you can take on work experience. I'm not sure to what extent you can be paid, so you have to look into the legalities of that. 2,
how should I prepare for the PAT? Simon says you should do lots of the PAT example papers they have and past papers. You should also do lots of senior maths challenge papers because there's loads of those and the question style is quite similar. And also revise your physics curriculum from year 12.
And then they ask you, should I mention books I'm planning on reading in my personal statement before the interview? No, you shouldn't.
Read them.
You should have actually read the books.
I made that mistake.
There is a huge chance you probably won't get around to reading that book, or you decided that this book is rubbish or boring and dull, and that you decided to read something else. You don't want someone to say, okay, so yeah, what do you think of page 22? And you're like, I don't know. And the fourth question. Don't have any work experience in the course I'm applying for, however I have interned at another company. It's a good idea to mention this in my personal statement. If you can relate it to your subject, then it's a good thing to mention. If you don't think it's of any relevance, don't mention it. Would be my advice. Yep, I agree.
And then 5.
Can you mention unpaid MOOCs in my UCAS qualifications?
What's an MMO? What's an
I don't know. I don't know what this. Do we Google it? Oh, it's an online course. Massive open online course.
If it's relevant to your subject, then yes,
definitely. If it shows your passion for the subject, do it. Cool. So that is the end of the maybe final video. We don't know how we're going to sequence these yet. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on Sunday, subscribers.
Check out this guy.
Cool.
Is this on your channel or is this on my channel?
I think it's on my channel.
Okay.
Check out this guy.
Check me out. Check me out, guys. And we will see you very shortly. We might do this in the future. If you like this, leave a comment and say that you liked it.
Yeah, give us feedback, guys, and thanks for watching. Well, we set up the camera to allow them to watch us. So technically, we're kind of self-propagating.
We're enabling perversion.
Yeah, that's it. We're pervert enablers. Fantastic.